Hi and welcome to my haul video. If you're new to this channel, hi, my name is Ina. If not, welcome back. Since February, I've gotten a few books and art supplies. I just start with the books. First, I received these two books by Erie. Someone had tried coloring as a hobby, but realized it wasn't really her thing. And before throwing the books away, another lovely person thought of me and gave me these two books as a gift. Thank you again for that. This one is Romantic Country, the first tale, and this one is the second tale. It's the French version of the books. In one of the books, a single page has been colored, and in the other book, a double page. But that's absolutely fine. Otherwise, the books are practically like new. Most people probably know these books already, so here's just a quick flip through. But I'm showing you which 5 pages per book I would currently color first. Of course, that might changes over time, especially with the seasons. The first page is this little alley with the laundry hanging out to dry and the geese on the stairs. I don't even know why, but somehow I feel like coloring laundry drying in the sun. The next page I would love to color is the coat of arms of Cocotte, the country that Erie invented for these books. Another page I'm really excited about is this afternoon tea scene with a table full of tea and pastries under a floral arch. Here you can see the double page that has already been colored in this book. And I think it turned out really beautifully. I honestly can't understand why the person didn't see coloring as her hobby. She's definitely very talented. Then I would also like to work on these 2 pages. The one with the garden tools and the seat, which fits perfectly with spring. And another page with laundry hanging out to dry on the line. Okay. That was the first tale. Let's move on to the second tale. In this book, I have even already colored 1 page. First, here's the page that is already done. And again, I think it turned out really well. The first page I currently feel like coloring is another one with garden tools. This little shed with the rubber boots hanging on the fence and the garden tools on the house wall. Then I'd love to color this fairy with the flowers. This page is also beautifully spring-like. Then I'd like to do this teapot with a sugar bowl, the cup with the 3 little children inside. This page would be perfect for mermaid. But I don't think I managed to do it this year. I already have other pages planned. Then I definitely love to color this page with the quill and the inkwell. And again, the flowers look really spring-like. Here you can see the page I already colored, the Easter page. And this page, which is similar to the previous one, with the stationery, the quill, stamps, and so on. I would also like to color this page. The page with the Easter eggs was very detailed, so I think a slightly simpler page, like this one, is really nice. But these double pages are also really great. Okay, those were the 2 books by Erie. I actually planned not to buy more books for now. And since I received these 2 as gifts and they were already used, I didn't technically buy them. However, I did buy 3 more books, these ones here. They were all marked down to €1.50, and for that price I just had to take them. They are from Woolworth and unfortunately have neither a name or any mention of who illustrated them. That's a shame, and I actually didn't want to buy such books anymore. But at that price, I just had to grab them. And looking at the pictures, they definitely don't look AI generated. I've already colored 1 page and tried searching it with Google's reverse image search. And it turned out to be a stock image. So I assume all of the images are stock images. At least the artist has paid for it. I call this book here Flowers and Animals. The other one Landscapes, and the third one City and Countryside. I'll start with the book where I've already colored 1 page and show you the pictures. In this book As I said, there are mainly flowers and animals. And all 3 books have 24 pages. As you can see, some are in grayscale and some use lines for shading. And the paper is really thick. I would say it's cardstock. Here you can see my finished page, which I've also talked about a bit more in my last completed pages video. I'll also show you here how I started coloring the page. You can really see that this paper works very well with watercolor. When you wet the page, the water doesn't get absorbed right away, but stays nicely on top of the paper. I went a bit wild with the background here, because I was so happy that the water stayed on the paper. And I used very inexpensive watercolors. With higher quality ones, it would probably look even better. There's also a portrait, a humpback whale, a dog, more flowers, and then the motifs start to repeat a bit, but they are all still different. For example, there's another rabbit with flowers and a butterfly. Another dog, and again boots with flowers growing out of them. Another dog, another portrait with flowers in the hair. But as I said, they all look different. Another whale, another cat, and at the back you can see all images. You can see that the boots with flowers appear twice. There are 2 portraits, 2 rabbits, 2 cats, 6 dogs, and 2 flower bouquets. I find the motifs very beautiful and well suited for coloring with watercolors. Okay, let's move on to the next one, the City and Countryside book. As you can see, the lines are more dark gray than black. This means that if you want something to be truly black, like the pupil of the rabbit, you definitely need to darken it a bit more to achieve a real depth in the image. Here we have a car, and this page with the cows, it's the one I want to color first in this book. We'll see when I get around it, but I've already marked it for myself. Here's an indoor scene, hot air balloons, some sauna accessories, a bicycle, a crate of apples, a small outdoor cafe scene, another car, another page with cows, a small stream, another indoor scene with a table, another hot air balloon, more sauna accessories, a bicycle with many flowers, another house, another peacock, a crate with vegetables, and again all the pages. Many of the pictures in this book are drawn in rather sketch-like style, which I find very beautiful combined with watercolors. And now we move on to the landscape book. Here I want to start by coloring this page with the stream and the bridge. Then we have a winter scene and another winter scene, a river or a lake with a boat, a train, a mountain landscape, a bridge, a tiny little waterfall, another little boat, a tropical scene, a lighthouse, a kind of a watermill, another tropical scene, another train, a bridge, another lake, another little boat, another beach, and a lighthouse. That's all for this book. And here again is the overview. Here you can see that it was made especially for Woolworth. So maybe if you are interested, you might still be lucky and find it there. Okay, those were the coloring books. Now let's move on to the art supplies. I only bought a few things as additions. Let's start with the Polychromos by Faber-Castell. I bought a few colors that I was missing in my castle art set. 3 shades of violet, which honestly looked a bit lighter in online swatches. But if necessary, I can lighten them a bit by going over them with a white pencil. I thought I would like to have a color for the Erie books. I saw on Elm Colors channel that she uses a blue tone on almost every page from, I believe, the first tale of Romantic Country. And I thought that was a really good idea. I decided that I would like to use violet as the national color for the land of Cocotte. I've already used these violet for the Easter page, and for that I got these 3 shades of violet. Violet 138, Purple Violet 136, and Mauve 249. Then I always have the problem that I'm missing a light blue shade. So I chose Sky Blue 146. I do have light blue tones in the Harmonious set from Castle Arts, but they are desaturated and don't really match the saturated colors from the Castle Arts Soft Touch set. I already had a few Polychromos, so don't be surprised that I have more shades of blue swatched here. Then I got a few more brown tones. Some slightly reddish lighter browns and some more yellowish browns. I also felt those were missing in my set. This is Cinnamon 189. This cinnamon definitely looks different from the one in the Castle Arts set. Then Venetian Red 190. And Castle Arts also have a color with this name, but it looks different too. Then I have Raw Amber 180, which also looks completely different from the Castle Arts version. Then Brown Ochre 182 and Nougat 178. These are all my new Polychromos. The swatch sheets from Faber-Castell are actually from the Faber-Castell website, and they are available there for free. Next we move on to the Neocolor II. Those who had followed my channel for a while know that I first had this very old set from Harlots with children's water-soluble wax crayons. Last year I added a few Jackson watercolor crayons, these ones here. I show you the swatches. Here on the top you can see the crayons from Harlots, and the numbered ones are from Jackson. Now I had a year to test them, and I noticed a few colors I wanted to add. So I got those from the Neocolor II line. The Neocolor II range is larger than the Jacksons, which is why I chose the Neocolor IIs. I downloaded the swatch sheet from the Carandache website and might add a few more colors over time. We'll see. You can see the colors I added. Some lighter pink shades, then darker blue tones, a bit of turquoise and a light green. Especially I choose pink 81, salmon pink 71, periwinkle blue 131, royal blue 130, sky blue 141, indigo blue 139, turquoise blue 171, turquoise green 191, jade green 211, and lime green 231. Over time, I might notice that I'm still missing some colors, or I find that this selection is enough for me. We'll see, maybe next year. The Neocolor II crayons feel a bit softer on the paper than the Jackson ones, And I also feel that they are slightly more pigmented. But I need to keep testing and using them a bit more. Next, there are 3 soft pastels. I haven't swatched my soft pastels because they aren't numbered or labeled. But I show you them here. I definitely miss a green that isn't so bright and something a bit darker. And I really need a dark blue for example, a night sky. This blue looks relatively dark here, but it isn't. For that, I got 3 soft pastels from the brand Jaxel. One in dark ultramarine and 2 greens, dark sap green and dark emerald green. These are the 3 new soft pastels. Then I bought 1 white gouache paint from Schminke in the Academy version. This is a slightly more affordable version. There's also a higher quality one, but I thought I didn't really need that for a coloring book. I want to use the paint partly to maybe make some color splatters on a page, or on the other hand, to draw highlights if I color a page only with watercolors, or to mix it with watercolors. I also use it to cover the lines a little in coloring books, to create a slightly painted look. I've already tried that. Here you can see my first attempt in Tal des Mondes or Moonlight Valley by Maria Trolle. At first I was a bit careful because I was worried about covering the lines too much, as I wasn't sure how opaque the paint would be. After all, it's called white opaque. So I diluted it a bit with water. As you can see, the lines are still visible here, but compared to the bumblebee or the caterpillar, they are already a bit softer and not quite as dark. Then I colored the whole thing with Castle Arts Gold. And for these 3 leaves here, I used the soft touch pencils. I can't tell you which I like better on the gouache paint. It feels different to color, but I'm not sure which I prefer. So far, I haven't really found that one works better or worse than the other. It's just different. I leave this one as it is for now and show you my second attempt in der Natur or Botanicum by Maria Trolle. There I applied the paint undiluted, and because I applied it in a very thin layer, it still wasn't completely opaque. As you can see, I colored over the entire motif and not just the lines. Because, as I said, you can feel a difference. The surface is a bit rougher. And if I were to cover only the lines, the colored pencils would probably look different where there is gouache paint and where there isn't. Here you can now see the colored result. And in comparison, the lines are already much less visible. You could certainly apply a second thin layer if you want them to be even less noticeable. I would rather do 2 thin layers than 1 thick one, so that the texture isn't too strong and you can color over it better with colored pencils. I definitely want to color an entire page using this method as well. Then I got this masking fluid from Winsor & Newton, because I would like to color a bit more with watercolors this year. When I create a background, Like in February with a snake, it's really useful to cover the motif so the paint doesn't run onto it. I also ordered white ink from Winsor & Newton. I might use it for splattering effects, but also to cover lines. Though not like the gouache, but rather afterwards, similar to how you would use a gel or acrylic marker. I haven't tried yet how well that works or how opaque the ink is. I thought about applying it with a glass quill pen. Funnily enough, the top of the packing says that you can dilute the ink with distilled water, but that it should not be applied with a quill pen. I'm not quite sure whether that only refers to the diluted version with distilled water, because when you open the box, it says to clean brushes and quill pens immediately after use. So, can I use a quill pen or not? Since I will be using a glass quill pen that it's easy to clean, it shouldn't be a problem. And lastly, I got myself an electric eraser from the brand gouache. I ordered it on Amazon and it wasn't very expensive. It can be recharged with a USB cable. And it comes with a lot of replacement erasers, including 2 different sizes. For the smaller ones, there's an additional attachment, so you can use the small erasers, which can easily be swapped out. I think that's really great because depending on what you want to erase, you can choose the right eraser size. And you'll definitely have enough replacements for quite a while. The eraser itself has a little protective cap and was already pre-charged. Here on this little spot, you can see when it's charging and when it's fully charged. I don't have a comparison to the more expensive one from Derwent, but my first impression of this one is very good. Those were all my books and art supplies. If you'd like to see anything more closely in use, feel free to leave a comment and I can make a separate video about it. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye and see you next time.